Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into Bazza Bros today. It's your boy Andrew, and today I'll be showing you how to turn an old beat up bench like this into a fresh looking restored storage bench. So make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, because today you'll be learning a lot. So let's take a closer look at this thing. This thing has been sitting outside for, I don't know, according to Riva, about maybe 10 years plus, maybe more. Clearly it's showing its age, but you can see that overall it's a nice standard looking bench that has some life to it. So we're gonna try to maximize that life, give it a new facelift, and see what we could do. So we're just gonna walk you through the materials that we'll be using here. Our DeWalt 20-volt drill, a bit overkill with removing screws, but we have our measuring tape, a notepad to take dimensions down, our brand new jigsaw that my wifey got me that I just said, as well as this hinge over here, and last but not least, obviously, a few pieces of 1/2-inch plywood that we just got cut and scored an amazing deal on. So what I did was write down all of the measurements right over here. I took measurements of the front, so from this point down to here, this point down to here, across, same thing on this side, and same thing on the back. The only consideration was that the base, Riva preferred that the base was going to sit on top of here. So with that, I needed to measure the distance from where this was to the other side of this, because that's where the board is going to be flush with, on the bottom. It's the exact same thing. And I took that distance as well as the same thing from here to this side, just imagining that it was going to be, well, I guess essentially I could have measured here and here, to make sure that the base was going to sit perfectly on here without passing through on this side and impeding on the ability for this to sit flush against that side. So you can see I wrote down images for the front, the left and right side, which are virtually identical, the back, and the bottom, which kind of looks like a Chevy logo, because I'm going to need to cut around the legs, which are here. And you can see it's about 1 inch and a bit around each leg. I went ahead and tried my jigsaw for the first time, and I forgot to record it. I had to cut these little pieces off. This is where I had to make a cut right on this edge on the seat bottom, right over here. Let me just show it on this side. The reason why I had to do that, and I'll show you 1 second if I can carry all of this, is because it needs to be able to open. I want to put a hinge on the inside here, and you can see this is how it used to be, and you can see the edges were very nice and clean before, but you weren't able to open it, right? So I cut these pieces off over here to allow more room so that you can open it like that. Cutting the front right over here. So I'm going to take these measurements, draw it onto our plywood, and cut it right after. Okay, so what I wanted to show you guys now is the stencil I made, or not necessarily the stencil, the actual drawings I made of the base. So I measured the longest part of the back and the longest part of the front, connected the edges right over here and drew the line. And you can see these are the cutouts for the legs that I'll be cutting off. So I cut the base, cut off the corners, and I wiggled it in, and you can see now it was able to drop right into place, just like that. And you can see there's a bit of play, but I left a bit of allowance just so it'd be easy to get in. Not too bad of a cut for the first try. And it doesn't look like I'll be needing to make any adjustments, which is awesome. We have the back here, so it measured what looks like 30.75 inches, so 30 3/4 along the top and bottom. So I just drew the line across, and it's about 14.5 inches tall. So I'm going to be making the simple cut as the next step. Something I forgot to mention is to just be mindful when you're cutting your wood to think of how you can use the resources that you have as efficiently as possible. So when I cut the wood, I was able to calculate it so I can use these boards over here, which is the leftover of the front and back pieces right over here. And now it's just enough room to be able to cover the sides right over here. Coming together, the pieces are falling into place, whatever you want to say or whatever the expression is. Something I did want to remind you of when sanding, especially with plywood, is that you want to go with the grain at first, just because you do not want to peel all of the edges and have an ugly edge. So what you do not want to do is sand this way, as you can see up close you're gonna get things like that, and obviously it's not gonna make your edge look any nicer. So start off sanding this way, and then you'll be left with a nicer looking edge for sure. So the next thing I'm gonna do is drill holes. I'm gonna follow the holes that kind of came with the bench already, that were holding up I think it was the seat part. I'm gonna follow that across here and here and all the way around. And what that's gonna do is allow me to put the walls of the bench against here. I'm gonna drill holes this way and put screws to fasten it on the other side, so it's not gonna affect the look on the outside here. So what I'll be using here, guys, is standard screw. You do it like that, a washer, and a split lock washer. This will keep it, or help it from I guess not loosening up. I'm going to be using this screw, and when I look down here, once it's in, it's pretty much the same width for both of these boards together, and it won't penetrate on the outside here. Everything is already laid out. I'm going to be putting the screws in each hole and securing each wall to the frame. The next step is to secure the walls of the bench onto the actual frame. As you can see, I prepped all of the screws, split lock washers and washers in each hole that I pre-drilled. And now I'm just going to be taking each panel, putting them along the side, and finishing off each screw. To secure the bottom, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I just flipped the bench over, and I'm going to be securing the bottom side of the walls to the bottom side of the frame. My next step will be to use these corner braces right over here, slash L brackets with these screws, and I'm going to be using it to, it's going to have two functions. It's going to hold the base of the bench down, and it's going to hold the front and back bottom part super tight. So I'm going to mount those right now. Hopefully you can see it very clearly. I'm going to do 3 on each side, so 1, 2, 3, and on the other side, 1, 2, 3. Next, we'll be installing this hinge. I picked it up from Home Depot for about $5. Super thin, does a basic job of opening and closing, I guess, if you want to call it that. And what we're going to be doing is installing it right over here, if you can see it. So this will allow the seat base to open and act as a lid. You just need to put some screws right in each hole over here, and yeah. It is painting day, so the sun's out, weather's really warm, perfect conditions for painting this bad boy. We are going to be coloring it gray. Let me see if there's an official color for this. Titanium, sorry. We're going to be painting it titanium, which is this color right over here. It's an exterior paint, because obviously we're going to be using this outdoors, and it's a semi-gloss finish, which is going to help us keep it clean, wipe it down a lot easier than say your flat or satin finish on whatever paint you're using. You can literally just dump this in, start rolling, and going nuts with it. So that's pretty much it. We're gonna get right to it. Timeout. Just had a funny discussion with my brother about painting this, and we came up, or actually he came up with this brilliant idea to change up how we're gonna paint it. So I literally, and I think I just said this a minute ago, I was just gonna take this paint, and I was like seconds away from just going nuts, taking this roller and going all over, but he challenged me with using a different technique for some of the side pieces and the seat bottom or seat base to see what we could do to make it pop a bit more. So what we kind of came up with the idea was, or what his idea was, to paint all of this that titanium color, like a solid color. So the pretty much everything that's blue here, the frame of the chair, and we're going to be using a different technique that I'll explain in a second to paint the rest of it. You can see I've kind of blocked off the areas that I'm not going to be painting a solid titanium color. But all of this, everything that's blue pretty much is going to be a solid color. Okay, so far we have the frame of the bench painted titanium. I removed all the tape that I used to mask it, and now you can kind of see the clean lines around the bench. Welcome back, everyone. Sorry, I was just taking a little breather. Just wanted to sit and relax on my new bench. Just kidding. Our new bench. So here's the finished product. Hope you like it. I went with gray all around, front and back. I deviated from the initial idea, but it's okay. It still turned out pretty good. And went gray inside and out as well. So you can see, didn't pay too much attention to the details inside because it's not really going to be seen. And it's only going to be used to store sporting goods, shoes, sandals, whatever, kids' toys, all that stuff. So it doesn't really matter. I lined the outside with a few felts. Hopefully you guys can see it here. And what this does is allows the kids to drop it without me freaking out thinking that somebody fell or whatever it is. I also added a few felts as bumper stoppers right over here, so you can open it and not damage anything. Yeah. Now let me take you to this part. This is my favorite part about it. Ohana. So in case you guys didn't know, Ohana means family. It's a quote taken, actually no, it's fact, but it's also a quote. Taken from one of the kids' favorite movies, Lilo and Stitch. And it means, yeah, she kind of said it when she's talking about like not being left behind, and Ohana means family, blah blah blah, all that stuff. Sorry, I shouldn't say blah 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 because it actually means something. But anyways, it kind of stuck with us. We love Hawaii, we love family, so it was only fitting to put it at the front of this bench, where we will be spending a lot of our time on now. I'll also, actually I should note, the stencils were a couple bucks at Walmart. I just held it up, spray painted a few coats, made it look a lot, actually I made it look very informal / messy because we're a messy family, I guess you could say. And I added a few highlights over here on what I like to call the jail cell part of the bench. Just to give it more dimension, more pop, more contrast, highlights, whatever you want to call it. But overall, I think it turned out a-okay. Don't you think? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But other than that, just gonna sit here for a bit while you subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, and click that notification bell so you know when the next videos are out. So yeah, thanks for joining us. Hope you liked it, and see you soon.